All right, welcome back to Stu and the Crew. I'm your host, Jonathan Stewart. We have a special guest today. We'll always have special guests on this show, by the way. But this one today, a lot of you guys are familiar with Tar Heel, who went to Chapel Hill,
Mm.
or Tar Heel from Chapel Hill, to the NFL trenches. The Oilers, the Dolphins, and your very own Cardiac Cat. And I say Cardiac Cat, I don't say that lightly because I think you were on the team that actually made the headlines as Cardiac Cats. At the mantra or the brand of football in which Carolina Panthers formed when they began. Um, no other than Kevin Donnalley, ladies and gentlemen. 13-year vet. You were drafted what, 91?
Correct.
91, and you made your way 10 years later back to the Carolinas. Uh I want to just talk about that for a little bit. But welcome to the show. But
No, thank you.
how
Thank you,
how
Stu.
how
Appreciate you having me on.
how full circle of a moment was that for you to, be a Tar Heel and then all of a sudden, oh, there's an opportunity to go play for the new Carolina Panthers? Yeah, I'll take that. What was that moment like when you were in Dolphin land and that opportunity aroused?
It was a dream come true because my wife and I, we're both from North Carolina. We met here on campus at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and um, just after playing 10 years in the league, there were some thoughts. Is it time to hang it up? Do I search for another team? Where's it going to be? And it could have just been everywhere. But I had a coach with the Miami Dolphins, Paul Boudreaux, that actually got hired by the Carolina Panthers. I guess the game plan for them was to, um, you know, bring in some established offensive linemen to get some continuity on that side of the ball. And being through his system and how he likes to do things, call certain plays, all the terminology, we just worked out perfectly. And so got the deal to come to the Carolina Panthers and come home to the Carolinas. It really was a dream come true. And during that whole time, your agent and different things are negotiating, and basically my family's just like, just take the minimum. Just take the minimum. Come home. Come home. And I said, well, I can't take the minimum because I have to get tickets for all you guys. It's not like he hands out free tickets to everybody. And suddenly I'm at home. There's going to be a lot of requests. You know how that works too.
Yeah, what was the most amount of tickets you had to get for a game?
Well, I think there's varying amounts. I think the biggest one was you mentioned the Cardiac Cats, 2003 Carolina Panthers, and the struggle to get enough tickets for the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Um, Wheeling and dealing, you got an allotment, but then wheeling and dealing with teammates, you know, and 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 trying to get their tickets and pay for those, and you're trying to accommodate them because they got families and things to take
Yeah.
care of, so you want to make it worth their while, and different means and aspects. I'm not going to get myself guilty of anything on here, but it took a lot of wrangling to get some tickets to get that to that game. So I ended up maybe 16, 18 people.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, and listen, face value for a Super Bowl ticket even back then was like $800 or something.
Good Lord, you were playing the Super Bowl for free, which a lot of
Played the bowl for free.
yeah, that's what happened to us. We got our check after that game with the tickets and all that kind of stuff. It came out that we played the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 50 for free. I remember Charles Johnson actually said he owed the team money after that, after all of that, which is crazy. So for all the fans out there, I think it's all, um, you know, roses and gold and honey. As far as being a professional athlete, you have a lot of things to deal with and a lot of pressure to please everyone. Uh, you being a guy that played in the league for so long, what are the things that you learned as far as that goes, as far as saying no, right?
Mm.
A lot of these young guys get to the league and they have their families, they have their friends that have this sense of entitlement, right? Uh, at what point did you learn that you had to say no?
Well, Stu, just to be honest with you, I'm a guy that agrees to everything. So, you need help with your yard. You got to move some furniture. Like I'm your guy. So, as my wife can attest, like I'm always, I'm a
You just
yes
all
guy.
you're a yes
What can I do
man.
to help? Yeah.
So Kevin
Um,
Donnelley is the yes man, which apparently you are a yes man because you probably were busy doing something and you were like, "Yeah, I'll do the Stu and the Crew show." So we thank you for being a yes guy.
no, I always make room for you, Stu. Running backs and O line would go together
Oh yeah, man.
like peas and carrots. But I think that, you know, I think just setting expectations, and it's kind of interesting when I look back at, there's so many different dynamics in that locker room where people come from, and who they were raised by, who are the meaningful people in their lives, who are their guys or buddies that have been with them thick or thin, and I think that that really is something that young players almost have to put someone else in charge of
Mm-hmm.
to be the bad guy. Because if you think about it, Stu, I mean, in heart, a lot of guys in the NFL, one of the qualities that it probably got them there was they are pleasers
Mm-hmm.
because they want to, do what exactly the coach wants them to do and what the team wants them to do and to do all those little things to be a good leader and all these, you're agreeing to do that, and along with that goes a lot of data boys and maybe getting yourself in news articles and posts and things like that. It's just kind of inherent with the game. Guys play it because they love the game, but that's one of the things that goes along with it that does, I think, give you a lot of satisfaction and joy. Is guys along the way telling you thanks and appreciate you and all those things. So it's tough, and I mean, really, the only thing is if that's an issue where you have that much demand, put your mom in charge, put grandfather, Uncle Jimmy, whoever it is, somebody can be a strong arm and say, hey, here's our limit for this game. Hit me back up when we go play the Raiders or something like that later in the season, because that's just the way it works.
Yeah. But I guess also too, you can say yes to a lot of things as long as it's yes to the right people, right, in the right situation.
Right.
And a lot of times, a lot of guys, might get it mixed up where you might let the wrong situations or the wrong people into your circle, right? So having the right circle allows you to be free in that sense, I think. So I think you had a lot of good people and a good circle around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
for sure. My wife's family's been great. They they were, I come from a football family, and I had three older brothers that played. One of them was in the NFL, and so there's some expectations there. They want to come to some games and do some different things. And KD, the NFL players, picking up the tab for dinner every time. I'm sure you know how that
oh
works.
yeah. What was your rookie?
My wife's family,
What was your rookie
my wife's
dinner?
family, right?
What was your rookie dinner like? Speaking, just picking up tabs. What was your rookie dinner like?
It was, really, it was kind of twofold because when we got to camp, um, I was a third round pick. We had a second round pick, John Flannery, who's also an offensive lineman. We're in charge of is throwing a party for everybody at camp, and
Mm,
so
a party at
you don't have a
camp?
lot of time. Yeah, it was, getting towards the end of it. We're about to break camp. You know, we had to have food and entertainment and adult beverages and all these things. And we were training at Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, when I was at the Houston Oilers. And it was basically like, hey, you and the other rook, you're funding this thing. This is what we want. We want there. And it wasn't so much paying for it's a pain. I mean, that's difficult. But I would have much rather had, we're taking you out to dinner and we go somewhere. Like we got two-a-days still at the time, full pads, both practices. Um, Helmet to helmet contact was all perfectly legal. It was, let's just go to town every practice, full pads. And so I'm exhausted and trying to plan this stuff between practices. That was the real challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, when we got back to Houston, then we had our roster, we cut it down. We had our group of linemen, then, again, took them all out to dinner. Um, I'd never been to a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and that's where they wanted to go there in Texas. And so you can imagine that, Bill. And I see some of these rookies nowadays, what they're having to go through. I'm glad it's it's the other expenses they add on there and stuff that
Yeah.
guys are taking home. And I
Yeah, like
can't
the
believe,
wine, the expensive
yeah,
liquors, the dessert, like the steaks for next week.
yeah,
All of the above.
no,
Well, I mean, it would probably be different if you had an NIL deal back then that you were just kind of like already prepped with some money in your pocket. Back in your day, before NIL deals and transfer portals, what did it actually mean to be a Tar Heel lineman back in the day?
um, well, I go back to the 70s and 80s, 1970s, 1980s, last century, uh, a lot of great running backs
Mm-hmm.
and offensive lines working together. Um, early 70s with Don McCauley to Amos Lawrence in the late 70s, Kelvin Bryant, Ethan Horton. You get to the 90s, it's Natron Means, a lot of
Oh,
different backs.
Natron. So Natron was there my rookie year helping out with Coach Skip. So I got a chance to meet him my rookie year.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Well, he's our running back coach here, and he's doing a wonderful job, especially with a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
Demond Jones, June. Demond June, you got to. He's the last two games he's gone off. So we're gonna keep this on Panther subject. But my first couple of years here was Mac Brown's first two seasons here, and really did not have great seasons, 1-10 both those years. But that third year, rookie or freshman, I should say, Natron Means came in, and he put a jolt in the offense that was much needed, and ended up being 6-4-1 my senior year. So I was proud of what we created and how far we went from being 1-10 2 years in a row to 6-4-1 by the time I left, and it kind of mirrored the end of my career there with the Carolina Panthers, because I first got there, we went 1-15. John Fox came in the next year, we went 7-9, and that third year went to a Super Bowl. And I think that's why it always has meaning, because I come back here to Chapel Hill and work for the program. I saw some dark days and saw it build and really have a lot of success all the way through the 90s. And you guys had tremendous success after that 2003 run that we made to build on that as you were going, and then ultimately back again in 2015. But we haven't produced as many top-notch linemen as of late, but we still got a running back tradition going through here.
Yeah.
Warren Hampton's he's going to kill it at San Diego, and Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. I'm proud to see those Tar Heels doing well in the NFL.
Well, if at the end of your season, at the end of your college career, if you were at the top of your game, you would have been really well sought after in this NIL space, I think. Right? So if you were to have an NIL,
back in the day, I was a left tackle.
Yeah.
So
you were a big deal.
Those guys, quarterbacks, you know how that is.
If you
could straight paid.
If you could have one NIL deal, what would it be? What kind of sponsorship deal would you have? What would your dream sponsorship deal be? Let's put it that way.
Dream sponsorship.
As an offensive line.
That's a good question. All right, I'll go with. It's going to sound crazy. Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I like that.
Since childhood, I've been a Coca-Cola drinker, and then when they came out with that product, Coke Zero, I'd love to get on there. Hey, I'm a big fan of Diet Coke. This helped me reach the NFL and all the things I established in my career.
Oh, what a product placement there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't see any of that, but if you can get some extra sponsorship because of that, Stu.
Yeah. Hey, Coke. Me and Kevin here, we are all about Coca-Cola. It actually helped me recover. To be honest, I had a Coke every now and then post game, along with something else. But
listen, it's a treat that can get you through a lot of different things you're going through. You
Yeah.
need some caffeine at some time. You need to relax other times.
Yeah.
It does both.
Yeah. I was a big Jack and Coke guy. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is rated G or whatever is it, PG.
I
So
think it's
this,
perfectly fine. You're good to go.
but no, man. I think you would have excelled. I think you would have been all over the place. You would have been on a lot of bulletin, a lot of those boards on the freeway. What do you call those? The big boards, the giant boards.
Yeah.
What do they call those? Billboards.
Recruiting boards?
The billboards, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have been all over the
My
place.
big fat face. I had a lot more hair back then too. It was glorious.
Right.
I mean, it was glorious. I was looking good.
So going to the 2003 Cardiac Cats, you drinking your Coca-Cola, pulling up, what kind of car did you drive back then?
I had like a one of the big GMC like Donnalley or something like
big
that.
Denali, baller.
I had 3 kids and I needed, and I think that one had it was one of the first to kind of get that third row you could push a button to take care of. Like I was lifting weights and pushing linemen all day long. That big back seat, that third row was unruly, having to get it in and out of there.
Yeah.
So I splurged for that extra little, just the tap of the button.
Yeah.
But of course, my kids were probably around that time. Let's see, 2001 when I moved here. So they were 6, 4, and 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were what they call it. You're in it. You're going through it right now. That's what they were telling you, huh? You guys are in it.
I'll tell you something funny is I played with the Houston Oilers. We then moved to Nashville, and then I went to Miami. I had a child while I was living in Houston. I had one in Nashville, and then I had one in Miami. I was coming home to Carolina, and we made a family decision to make sure that there was no children born in Charlotte, which was good. Love our 3. 3's great.
Yeah.
3's great.
Well, I can imagine you pulling up in your Denali with a Coca-Cola in the cup holder, probably a side of snacks in the door right there, the door compartment, and you're getting ready to go to practice, and you're having to face off against a defensive line that was incredible. Give me what was your mindset going to practice every day? Like literally from the moment that you got out of your car.
It was, it was a challenge, but for me, I was a practice guy. Like I liked to practice because I needed the reps, and it always didn't. It's hard to get motivated and get yourself in that bright mind frame. But I just knew, suck it up and just train as hard as you can during these practices. I was in such a better place mentally when game day rolled around that, I couldn't do any more to be ready for the game at hand, and I could really relax and just go play ball. Other guys are different, and how they prepare, and whatever keeps them in the NFL, you keep doing you. But for me, I really like those reps. And to be honest, everywhere I've been, the defensive line has just been amazing. When I first got to the Houston Oilers, a lot of the veterans, it was pre-free agency, which is crazy. So no one really moved teams or anything. And a lot of teams' rosters were built with veteran guys. So I'm the young guy. I would often go right down the line of scrimmage during one-on-one reps and take every single rep. And my rookie year, it was just 5 losses. You're back up, another 5 losses. It was depressing, but it made me better and got me ready to play when I needed to get in there and play. It's tougher when you're a 10-year, 11-year vet going against some of these young guys. Like Julius Peppers is fresh out of the draft wrapper. We just unboxed him. He's clean and fresh coming in the NFL, and
UNC
going
guy.
against fellow Tar Heel. He was a beast. But when you looked at the D line, between guys like Mike Rucker, Al Wallace, Brenston Buckner, Julius Peppers, the big guy in there,
Chris Jenkins.
It just shooting Kent Rasmussen, there's no plays off. During one-on-ones, especially if it's a third down day or something where they could rotate any and all of those guys at different positions. You got to go against a lot of different guys with different skill sets, body types, um, their age, their techniques and everything. And so it was difficult. It was a real beast going up at every single day like that. But that's what got me ready for the game. So to me, it wasn't. I hated it, but I loved it at the same time. One of
Right.
those deals.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to draw some similarities to the years that we are, right now we're present, right? Carolina Panthers, 0-2, but we have some guys that, on the defense right now, right? Led by Derek Brown, Wanham, Wharton's hurt,
J.C. Horn.
but J.C. Horn, you got a lot of guys that are guys that franchise guys, pillars, staples, guys that you can build on top of and stack on. What are some, as far as an identity, right? From your time in 2001 to 2003, what were some pivotal moments or pivotal key players that really connected the dots to where you guys were where you were in 2003?
It's a great question. Obviously, I don't think we knew it at the time, but the one big one was getting Jake Delhomme, because of what he was young. He did have experience in the league, not a whole lot of it yet, but his natural qualities as a leader and a guy that brings guys together. Because he was in full support of Rodney Peete, who was our starter from the year before, and everyone that's a Panthers fan kind of knows that things really weren't working out in the first half with Rodney Peete and the whole offense, to be frank with you. And it's probably we, as much as anyone, let Rodney down as much as anything he did. But when Jay came in that second half, that was a key piece that felt like the offense needed somebody to just rally and be a cheerleader and a force of just complete positivity. At the same time, you felt this humbleness about him. Like, I had no idea what's going on. Let's just go out there and ball. You can hear Jake saying, like, I don't know where that pass was going, but I'll get my next one. And he was just amazing, able to blend in and make that seamless. I think the transition to Steve Smith just being known as like a return guy and a special teams guy, to finally saying, all right, third year, you're a starter. You're going to be our guy. And seeing what he brought to the party with, Ricky Prohl and Muhsin Muhammad. And then, believe it or not, Jordan Gross, he came in as a rookie that was like a 35-year-old, 13-year vet in the NFL. The poise, how good his technique was. He was game ready from day one. That's hard for offensive linemen. I think on the defensive side, it was, that second year with getting Julius Peppers in the system. Dan Morgan had been there. He's going on his third year, I believe. Rucker had been here a while. It'd probably be, for the defensive side, it just felt like they had a lot of key pieces already in place. It's almost like, let's get an offense that can control the ball, not turn it over, really execute what John Fox saw, ball control, keeping the ball, beating teams up physically. And, the defense responded. They gave us energy just as much as we gave them energy. So it's a long answer, but it really is funny how the 7-9 to go in the Super Bowl next year, it just takes a few key pieces, and it's a process. It took a few years going from 1-15, but you can see that every year there's one or two teams that suddenly the switch flips because they got the right combination at the right time. And I know as Panthers fans, we're all kind of waiting for that. But I'm like you, you mentioned some of those players. I'm starting to see those key pieces there. Some guys making plays. Even some young guys. They're never too young to contribute.
Yeah.
Princely had a nice sack on Sunday. And it was, that's what you want to see. You saw some good things during camp, and it's this real game against the Cardinals, a good team, and got back there. And who knows where this will take them.
Yeah, I feel encouraged, after that Arizona game. Because again, we felt a little bit of um, energy, right? The third quarter, the fourth quarter, we felt all of a sudden this burst of, oh, wait a minute, we might have a chance here. And sure enough, things started to unfold and started going in our favor. I mean, no one kicks an onside kick and actually recovers it. So when that happened, I was like, oh, wow, wait a minute, this is not over. And it was all led with poise with Bryce Young under center. You talked about, the offense, during your time, how you guys started to click was the thing that the defense needed, right? And I honestly think that's what watching that Arizona game, the defense actually, took what they learned from week 1 and brought it to Arizona. They stopped the run. They got after the quarterback. They did the things that they needed to work on, and it actually showed up on film. They gave us a chance to win the game. Turnovers, right? Turnovers, moving the chains, those are the things that prevent an offense from contributing to a winning experience. And when we started doing those things in the third quarter, which got jump-started with the 14-yard run by Chuba Hubbard, that's when things started to go in our favor. And to your point, your time with Jake Delhomme, you have Stephen Davis, you have Deshaun Foster, the run game, right? Run game to play action, those are where you really start to open up your playbook to be able to do a multitude of things. Without a run game, it's so hard to it's hard to dial in. And I think, looking at the Arizona game, when you're not capable of running the ball, you can't do play action. And I know a lot of people are giving Xavier Legette a hard time right now. But in my observation, if we actually start opening up the run game, we start hitting play action, that's where you can start getting him more involved because he is a home run threat. And what do we do on play action? We look for the home run threat because we bring up the linebackers, we bring up the coverage, and that's when we hit him over the top. But if we're not being able to play complementary football in that way, in that phase, you're really not being able to put certain players in position to win, right? So I honestly think that we are growing. We're hitting certain strides. I feel encouraged after that last game. What did you see from that last game offensively, especially at the line of scrimmage? Because we did lose some guys. Robert Hunt tore his bicep. Austin Corbett is out for maybe a couple weeks. Caden Mays is going to step in there. Zavala is going to step in there. Zavala had a pretty good year last year coming off of his rookie year. So there's some comfort there knowing that these guys that are, coming in to replace some really talented guys. Robert Hunt, talented guy. Not just a talent, but a locker room featured guy. But give me your take on what you saw during this last game at the offensive line in the trenches.
Yeah, I can go back to the week 1 game, and it just didn't look like the Panthers team that finished the year before. But every team is different, and it kind of hurt my heart a little bit. But then this game against Arizona, going on the road for the second week in a row, and just seeing that fight, it's almost like the couple of turnovers early in that game, gave them a couple wake-up shots, and they were stunned for a minute there, and defense didn't know how to respond, and one of them was instant points on the board for Arizona. So it throws you for a loop, and hopefully the team will learn for this and be able to punch back quicker and faster. But it seems like they got their bearings, got things set. We're going into that second half. Even when it opened with, points off Arizona coming out there and scoring more points, it was when the offensive unit did get back out there, that's when the production really started. And it was good to see some fight in them. It really was. Defensively, there's pieces there to stop the run. They've got what they need. It's just about cleaning some things up. But I think it goes back to the previous conversation was, you depend so much on the offense and the defense, vice versa. Those two groups really feeding off each other. When you have confidence, all that did with Bryce and some of the drives that he led, and Hunter Renfrow coming up with a couple touchdowns, Chuba getting out, that's where that defense can get confidence and play harder and do better. But kind of in this game, saw some bright spots with the running game, especially in the second half, and that's really what led to success last year. As you know, Stu, at the end of the year was how well that group was run blocking up front. So there are a couple of big losses with Hunt and Corbett being out, but we know that Cade Mays is every bit as capable as Austin Corbett. Like, they were battling for that starting job.
Yeah, because he
And
finished.
then, as you mentioned, Zavala had a lot of playing experience. Hunt was a Pro Bowl type of guy, but he's a guy that has gone in there and done the job. It's just now it's mission critical. It seems, this, certain positions seem to get hit. It's not this spread out, one DB here, wide receiver, and a lineman. It's like sometimes, like, all of a sudden one group is just targeted with a lot of different injuries. And that's where hopefully this stops and we can just keep this group going until those guys come back.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to look forward to with Zavala. The fact that he was able to, he had I think a 30, the PFF grades and all that stuff. I looked at it. He had a 30 or something like that his rookie year, and it jumped all the way up to 70 as far as his rating. And so I think Panther fans out there, be encouraged, not discouraged. You guys are going to be just fine, and it's a long season. And so I think also too, would you have these games that you're like these learning opportunities on away games, in my opinion, are way better to have them away. Don't have them at home, right? Because we want to make sure we have our best ball on home games, but most importantly, division opponents, right? The Falcons are coming in town, and this is a division game. There's more pressure on the Falcons because they already played one division game to begin the season with against the Buccaneers, and they lost. So for them, they absolutely have to come in here and win this game. So there's a lot more on their plate, in my opinion. But this is an opportunity for Zavala to make a case for himself, in my opinion. You have a guy, Robert Hunt, that was playing in front of you. Have you learned anything? Right? Have you took the opportunity to be an understudy of, one of the best linemen in the league? And what else are you going to do as far as leadership goes, right? Because Robert Hunt was a huge leader, a huge presence in that locker room, and someone's going to have to step up, right? When you were playing, it's always the next man up mentality, right? What can you speak to as far as how do you prepare to be the next man up?
It was tough for me at first, because when I first got to the league and then I got my first time playing in an actual game, it's almost like you need that experience to really make you understand that basically next man up. How do you prepare for that? Is you prepare like you are the starter. That just has to be your mindset. I started most of my career, but in times where early in my career, I had much more success when I had to go in there for a half or a quarter or fill in for 2 or 3 games for a guy or even longer. That I just learned early on. There's no 2 different ways to prepare. If you're on that roster, even if you're a third string guy or just you call yourself a special teams guy, whatever it is, just the positions you're in charge of, you have to prepare like you are the actual starter. And that's, for me, the only mindset I could have, because anything less than that, it's going to be a bad day for you, because instantly it was just that speed uptick, of going from training camp, and even when you're practicing against other teams, there's nothing like the NFL. I'm in college ball. There's so many fast, athletic players out there, but even when I'm on the sidelines for the Panthers and I hear the punters and kickers kicking the ball, they sound like explosions, and I listen to the guys on the college sideline, and like some are good, but like it's such a big gap. It's just big jump. So preparing to be in a game, you got to just act like you're the starter. And a lot of times what it means is you're doing a lot of mental reps because those starters are getting a bunch of those. You just got to stand behind it, watch your position, and pay close attention to every single thing. You can't be caught off guard by anything.
Yeah. When you're playing a team like the Falcons have a revamped pass rush. It seems like they had 6 sacks the last game.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're bringing in 2 guys to replace our starters. One has been proven to be a starter, and the other has been a filler. Right? When you are going into this game offensively as a coordinator, what does that do to the scheme, right? What does that do as far as your preparation? Does that change, blocking schemes? Does that change run plays as a lineman? Are you now thinking to yourself, okay, this guy is different next to me. I know his skill set is X, Y, Z. We probably shouldn't be running this play because this isn't his strength. Like, do you have that mindset when you're in the trenches?
It's I think that really when a game rolls around, I'd say overall for offensive linemen, it's not something you really take into account because you have your 8 or 9 guys on that roster that are getting those reps and guys sub in and out at different times, but it's really all the time you spend together in the meeting room, where guys are just talking ball. Maybe the coach isn't there. The coach is there, but you're quizzing each other, you're around each other. And so I think that, for Taylor Moton, and he sees Chandler Zavala in there and the way he prepares and taking notes and learning and all these things, that's where the trust is really built, that when they go to the field, they can really transfer that over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, you mentioned how Robert Hunt, I mean, he's he's one of the guys that drives the energy bus, for practices and getting people up. And, I don't know, other guys are going to have to pick up the slack there, but I'm sure because of the teammate he is, he'll be in Zavala's ear as much as possible, telling him, here's the things you need to do, watch out for. And this is a team, Atlanta, they're blitzing a whole lot more this year. And some of those sacks are coming from secondary positions and different blitzes that they've run. So that's the challenge. I think the fortunate thing is, Cade Mays has a ton of reps under his belt. Zavala, he's gotten pretty, he's not just coming in fresh. It's not going to be like a deer in the headlights. He's going to have a knowledge of what's going on, and he'll be fully prepared. I believe that. And I'm an optimist. But the thing is, I got to be, because they're going against the Falcons. It's one of the teams I hated the absolute most. Their fans, everything about them, Dirty Birds, the music they play pregame when you had to go down there, anything bird related. So it's just like, let's just take care of business and beat them down.
Yeah.
Beat them down.
And we get to host them here in Bank of America Stadium, where we've had some success against them. Well, man, I want to get out of here. Don't want to waste your time for the rest of the day. It is a Tuesday, which is a weekday, so I know you have other business to attend to. But I want to ask you about, what you're doing now, just to give the fans to be able to, know what you're up to and how they can support you. I know you are a guy that is all about the youth and shaping the next generation. So give us a little spiel on what you got going on.
Yeah, left was in Charlotte for 20 years, including my playing career there, and just absolutely loved it. But my wife and I both went to UNC Chapel Hill, and I got an opportunity to join Coach Brown's staff about 5.5 years ago in a player development role. And my kids were older and grown and getting in college and things like that. So we said it was a good time to try something for us now, after raising those 3 kids. We came back to Chapel Hill and we've loved it. My role here is basically trying to get them ready for life after football, whenever that happens. All of them wanted to go to the NFL, and we love that. You got to have drive. You got to have all those things to get there, but most of them won't make it. So it's what's the plan to back that up? And then even guys that do play, some of those are the most challenging because you actually get to play 2, 3, 4 years in the NFL. You're not set for life, but you're far enough away from your college experience that I love it when those guys call me up and say, "Hey, I think my career's over. I've been picked up in 6 months. Let's start this next journey for me." And so a lot of that's just building a relationship with them, getting them ready so they can have those conversations when it's all over. So I'm loving it during the season. I don't have as much time with them because it's focused on academics and taking care of business on the field. But the off seasons and really diving into finding out their interests, what they want to major in, career interests, getting them, networking, all the different things, just to give them some insight on it, so they don't just all of a sudden when their career's over, they're looking around without a plan.
Yeah.
I think as football players, we can both attest, when there's not a plan, things can go haywire quick. And we've seen it in games, and we've seen it in guys after they retire. So just trying to help them with those challenges. And I do say our brain and body clinic for the NFL, we have one of those locations here. Have you been to the brain and body clinic lately?
Not yet. I have not. I'm going to schedule. I've got to schedule.
It's a 2-hour drive. Come up here. We'll treat you right.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing experience. But maybe we'll talk more after. But that's some of the programs the NFL does to help in the transition for NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away. There are some programs in place, but that's a really important one for both your mental health and your body, your physical health.
Yeah, I got to get on that for sure. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and they've been very like I had one scheduled like 2 years ago in March, but then my March got so cluttered that I couldn't do it. but I do need to jump on that.
It's a 3.5 day commitment. So
yeah,
it is big, but it's just something that I think it's one of those things that they just do really well. And I've just seen it develop over the years of the NFL and the NFLPA working to make some of these things accessible so that guys, can transition to something else, because it's hard. I'm telling you, I played 13 years in the NFL, and the hardest part of it was the mental transition from being a player of almost 25 years of my life, and it was my identity. And I did a lot of different things and had interests, but still at my heart, it's like, okay, what am I now?
Yeah.
So it's a topic for another day, but I was happy that they helped me through my transition, and I think that also gives me extra drive to see that what I do here at the University of North Carolina is important for our guys whenever that transition happens.
Well, it was good to talk to you, man. This was awesome. I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad you got to give some insight for the viewers and just for current guys that are watching and listening. If you're struggling, looking to see what you can do post career or wondering what you're gonna do post career, Kevin Donnalley did it the right way, and he's doing what he's passionate about, right? Giving back while doing something that he's passionate about, which is awesome. The question I have for you right now is, what kind of shoes do you have on your feet?
They just some. It's pretty simple today. But it is
the Air Force Ones.
Always have the Nikes on around here.
Yeah.
But speaking of, I've ordered about 20 pairs of these because they're gonna all our coaches are gonna wear them for our cancer awareness game, which is the Clemson game. First game in October. We have children from UNC Children's Hospital are going to come the week before and decorate these shoes in amazing ways, and then wear them on the field. So a lot of these, that all white ones, are going to get transformed to some pretty. Some of them are psychedelic looking, hot pink flowers. Other ones, they're going to be really nice Tar Heel designs on there. But it's whatever's in the child's heart. These patients can come down and forget about treatment for 3-4 hours and just interact with our players and have some fun. Some of our guys come up and help out, and that's the biggest part, just talking and socializing with them, just spending time. They don't have to think about cancer, the doctors, all the different tests, things like that. They can just focus on doing some beautiful art.
Yeah, on some Air Force Ones. That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see how those turn out. Make sure you send us
I'll
some
keep you
pictures.
posted, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Donnalley, thank you for tuning in to Stu and the Crew. We'll see you on week 4.